And I think we've got this working now. And we're live, and this is episode 6 of the Railroads Online playthrough. And we have 2 people watching currently. Now what we're doing today is we're building the 1.5% line up to the iron mine. And where we left off from yesterday, I had built a first pass at a string line up the mountain, and I'm going to do a second pass over it today. So we have plenty of room to get a guide track on, and the corners aren't too tight. And we're not falling down the cliffs the whole time. Like this corner here is a little bit too tight, so we'll cut it off short. Sort of smooth out what we put in yesterday. Trying to stay as close to the edge as possible. And I know up here at this corner we had a problem because we couldn't get the track to go in easily, or the groundworks to go in easily. We ended up with a funny corner, and that wasn't meant to do that. So we're going to have to delete that bit and that couple of horrible bits there. And we'll try and make this corner again. This is a tight corner here, so we're going to have to try and make it a little bit wider. And we want 1.5 than what it currently is, otherwise we will. So we'll put that one in there. We'll come back and we'll put another little pass on this corner so that we've got plenty of room to build on here when we get up to it. Just bring it out. That'll be 1.5. Another half a track's worth of width. And meet it up over there, and we'll put another line around the outside. But we've got plenty of room there because I want to try and get at bare minimum a 30-degree corner on there. And 1.5 again. That should do us. Come up to here and start putting in a little bit more, back up to 1.5. And again, this corner here is another really tight corner as we come around this bluff. And if you look up ahead of us, I've already put in a couple of bits of groundwork there, which prevents us falling down the cliffs, because that gets annoying very quickly. We'll stop here and we'll go back and we'll have another go at this corner. We'll put a couple of runs around this corner so that we're out wide enough, because this is another corner where we want to put at biggest a 30-degree corner. We'll start 1.5 and just make the outside edge wider. And you can see that as we're taking a longer path, we're actually gaining more height around these corners. Off into the distance. And we'll do a tight one as well so that we can pull the apex as close into that bluff as we possibly can. Off into the distance. Alright, let's see where we end up when we go around the outside of this valley. Like, this is deep here. This is the deepest spot on the map for a straight down cliff. And the first times I built around here, I didn't put the safety net in, and so I fell down a lot. And now we'll fall down under the safety net. Try and keep it as close to the edge as we can. And we'll put a little wiggle in it there. We won't be able to get past that bluff, so we'll go around it. And we can't climb up here, so we're just going to have to guess. I'm standing down on here. And we need to put a corner in here. How far over can we go? We're going to hit here. So we can come across to about there. And this is only a string line. It's only an estimation of where we want the track to go. It's by no means the finished path. Just roughing it out. The tightest you can get around with on a corner is about 38 degrees, and then the corners of the rail cars start to collide into each other. It's safe to put it to about 35 degrees, but you need to be going quite slow to go around 35 degrees. Oh, and I didn't quite get through. I wanted to get through. I'm not quite high enough. I wanted to try and get through here. Maybe I am high enough. I will land that there. Come along and jump back up on top. A safe corner's 33, because if you actually measure a corner in game, it's using the diameter and not the radius. So a 33 degree corner in the game is actually 66 in real life, and that's a really tight corner. Yeah, look at that, we can get through this point. Well, the tightest I've used on this map so far is a 25, and I can go around that at full regulator. We're building a 1.5% line up to the iron mine directly from the sawmill. And it's just a supply route. The ore hoppers will run on a separate route. This is only for to get the wood up there from the sawmill. And it's up the really big gorge that runs down the western bank. So I'll run a second pass over here now. Up at 1.5. This just gives us a bit of width to build on, just in case we have to go a little bit wide. It doesn't matter if we have to stop and add a little bit more groundwork along the way to get that extra bit of width if we need it for a corner. It's just easier if we can build straight through. I can see this corner here is actually going to give us issues when we get to it. So that is most certainly too tight. Yes, in model railroading, they use corners that open for the simple reason that they're not running, you know, early 19th century, 18th century steam trains, which were, you know, narrow gauge was actually designed to go around tight corners. If you're talking, you know, main lines, which is what you'd normally run on your model railways, you don't want them going around tight corners. Unless, of course, you're using little short wheelbase models, and then they don't have any problem going around the tighter corners. We'll get rid of some trees out of here on the way back. And that's as far as I'm going to put the string line at for the moment, because we've made it through this pass here. We are on target to reach the top with our 1.5 as long as we follow around the edge. Well, that one launched. I'll just get rid of the one trees that'll be in the way of us placing down the guide track, because the first track I build up here is not the track for the trains to drive on. It's a track so that I can snap groundworks to it at equal distances so that you get smooth curves, because currently in the game there's no way to set a distance for the length of a segment. Well, that one went good. While we're here, we'll put an emergency climb back up just in case I fall down. The long run all the way back to the start. And to the point of where we got to, that's about halfway up, and I don't think we will get all the way up here with a single spline. So we'll only build through a single spline, and then we'll go back and do the steps over the single spline. The single spline goes a fair distance. Yes, a lot of these places here, they'll all get built in with bridges when we put the finished groundworks in. It's just easier to build all on a level surface to get the track in the spot where you want it first before you start worrying about trying to put bridges and things like that in, because really they're only decoration. Might be quicker if we take a shortcut. Yes, and down here in this cutting, this is where the line will run down to the smelter in the normal place where most people put it. There's only one spot you've got to watch out for here, and it's right here. There's a little bump in the ground. You've got to be careful to go around that if you got your groundworks low to the ground. Yes, it is a long run back. Here we are, okay. Now we'll start placing the guide track in, and I won't actually connect the guide track to the end of this track, just off from it. Place down the first piece, and we'll line it up so that it lines up pretty straight with where we came from, because we're only using it for its control points. That looks pretty good to me. And we'll turn on the alt lock and start building. And I think we need to go a little bit tighter than 5 for this first one. And again, each step of the process here, it actually smooths the line out a little bit more each step through you go. Even though you're doing multiple steps to end up with a finished product, the finished product ends up better the further you go. We'll come back down a little bit off of there. Aim the track where we want it to go. As long as we don't exceed any of the the 30 degrees with this guide track that we're putting it in, that means the track that goes on top won't exceed the 30 degrees either. We'll try and keep it nice and close to the edge. And it's not like this track wouldn't be smooth enough to actually run the train on, because you could run the train on it and have no dramas at all. It's just, yes, I'm a perfectionist, and I like to have the track go exactly where I want it to without any weird wobbles in it. Slowly start to creep across. This will be a bridge here. A little too far. This is actually the first time I've built along here. Normally I'm on the other side of the mountain, over that side there. I thought I'd put it on this side and have a see how it went. Oh, this one here is a little bit tighter. Okay, that was a bit of a mistake. And I got a flat spot in there in the corner. Doesn't matter, we can correct it later when we build over the top of it. I don't mind the track having a curve to the left and a curve to the right when it's only slight. It actually looks really good when you look back down the train and you see the train snaking along behind you. And now we're starting to get up to this first corner where the tight corner is. So we want to try and stay sort of out wide-ish a little bit. Should aim us somewhere in the right direction. I could have made that corner a lot tighter. We might go back and revise it, I think. So let's end this spline here. And yes, we could have made this corner much tighter. So let's try and do this little section here again. Derails and delete them all. And we'll go back to the point here on the straight. And find a control point, there it is. I'll lock back on and try and come a little bit closer. straight from here. Not quite. This one could be straight. Just means we won't have as much overhang down there into the valley, which in a way will be a good thing as well. So let's pull it in tight around here. Don't be too tight, otherwise the sides of the wagons will hit on it. That looks about good to me. We can go a little bit further there. Let's try 18. Will it let us put it in at 18? Yes. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Ah, yes. Hello, Captain Robert. I didn't think I was actually going to be able to live stream. Our internet here in the outback of Australia is not what you'd call world class. So the stream could be struggling a little bit. And I'm not even 100% sure how to check it because this is the first time I've ever tried to live stream. Just tighten up a little bit more here. 12. I think the tightest corner we've put in so far is 18. Which is really good. Now we're heading towards this next corner that's a problem. Becomes really tight. There's 4 problem corners on this route. While you're heading up with a load, they're not a problem because you're not at full speed when you're carrying a load, but when you're coming back down again with empties, you have to be a little bit cautious on them. Oh, it's a little bit too close. Yes, the Wi-Fi. That is how I'm actually getting on today, is I'm using wireless internet. And I had a good friend, I was talking to him the other day, and he suggested I try a big antenna with a 4G receiver on it, because he had one that he used to use when he was out on a property. And he came and dropped off the antenna for me, and it has picked up my mobile phone signal from being 0 bars, and now I can get 3 out of 5 bars, because normally I'd have to go for about a 10-15 minute drive up the road to be able to get any kind of mobile phone signal at all. Can we get round here with a 25? Oh, let me place it. Ooh, it might be. Oh, we got round with a 25. Normally I put a 30 on that corner, and a 25 is so much better. So yes, it's all thanks to a friend of mine that I can actually get on here and stream. Otherwise, I'd be limited to our very slow DSL with about a half megabit upload. Because yeah, the videos I've been uploading, they actually take me between 5 to 7 hours to upload for a 30 to 40 minute video. I wonder if that'll be no good. Oh, it might skip across that without a problem. Try and get back over here closer to the edge. Yeah, that follows pretty neatly along the edge of the mountain there. Step up a little bit here, otherwise we're going to hit this bit of rock sticking out. This corner here's another one that you've got to be a little bit careful on. I dare say it'll need to be a 25 as well to get around here. Try with 22 to start off with. If we don't make it, we can come back and build it again later. Yeah, easy got around there at 22. Can open it back up again. The download for the DSL on the wide is a little bit better than the dial-up. We were on dial-up here until I think it was the end of 2010. So yeah, now we at least have a decent bit of downloaded here, but yeah, Telstra seems to throttle all their uploads for some reason. And well, my only choice is a Telstra or a Telstra. So I can't just say, oh, well, I'll go to a different carrier and if you don't give me a better deal, because there is no other carrier. And that goes for the mobile phones as well. There's no other carrier for the mobile phones. Pardon me. They just don't have any towers out here. Your choice is a Telstra or send a letter through the mail. Or are we going to aim here? I want to try and aim over there a bit. This is another one of these tight corners that usually you need to put in at 30. I'll try a slightly different approach on it here, but this will be bridge. There's not much you can do about that. Come a little bit tighter, I think. And we have run out of room. So we'll have to end that spline. Delete the last segment because it doesn't conform to the curve. And grab another little sample from here. Constant grade up 1.5. And give us a little bit of extra width out here to build onto. We might do a second pass as well. You're stopping me from seeing. Don't really want that tree either. Okay, let's find our control point. And that one. And we can go straight back up to 25 where we were. No, there's no way we're going to get around this corner with a 25. We're just hanging too far over the edge. So let's remove them back again. And we'll go back one extra one to here. This was the 22. And we'll grab a little bit of extra groundworks and put it here in the middle. So we can build closer in to the apex. Back and find the control point. And it's 22. Let's see how far we can go. We'll go 29. Let's see how we end up at the end of the corner with 29. That looks a lot better. Because yes, that is a big corner. It's almost a hairpin turn, that one. Okay, now we can run all the way back down to the start again. And build back over it another time. This time we'll build with steel bridge. And well, because we can snap the steel bridge to the control points of this guide track we just put down, we don't have to worry about where the curve goes, and we don't have to worry about the lengths that we're placing down of the bridge work. The only thing we have to worry about is the grade. So this guide track has put in basically our path, and then the next step puts in the grade, and well, this here can be fixed. Let's nudge some points here. Perhaps not, because if I move it over, it will hit there. We will correct it with the finalized track. This will be a little bit of a bridge here that we have to put out, just because we have to get so wide to get around the ends of the hills. Oh yes, it is a long way back. I'll take the shortcut again. It'd be cool if they put a horse in the game. We could have our horse follow us wherever we want, and then be able to move back to where we need to go much quicker. When the mod API comes into the game, I'd like to make in an old Model T truck that it can carry about 2/3 the load of the current rail cars, and then a road spline system that you can build roads around. That way you can have level crossings and things like that. Okay, back up to where we started off at. And now we'll go for bridge and set it at 1.5 up, and just run along and snap it to every one of the... Turn the alt lock off for it. Snap it to every single joint. And it will appear through the groundworks and disappear under the groundworks. It may even go over the track in places. But yeah, using the bridge like this ensures you get a nice constant grade the whole way, and you've got no Z randomization problems in your grade. And yes, when it's building in the groundworks like this, you have to stick it out to the side occasionally and make sure you're still getting connected onto every one of the control points for the track. So, pass one. or something we can do. That might make it a little bit easier. So I lift it up. I can see that it's going in to the places, and when I get to the end I can put it down again, because your only option for bridge work is a constant. And so, you know, like if I can pick it up and put the whole lot down. Sometimes it's even easier to go like right above your head, so you can see the track you're building on. Oh, I must have missed a point. There it is. You don't even have to think hard when you're putting this down. It's just run along and click it to every joint. You can see the different height elevation there that we would have gotten with 2%. We haven't run out of spline length yet. This is the maximum distance it'll let you put down a spline. It's only so many segments, and then it says no, you can't have any more. It's usually when I do a build up to here, it usually happens around where I stopped on the other side of that tight corner in the cutting. Because it takes 2 full-length splines to get this piece of track in, and no, we're only getting to here this time. So as far as we go. So we drop it down and we move it around a couple of times, up and down, up and down, up and down, to make sure that the grade is actually setting into the spot where you want it to set into, and finalise the spline. And then we'll come with Bridgeworks again, and we'll start again from the same spot and put it on 1.5, turn off the lock, and finish building the rest of the way. And you can see the stone wall was close, but yes, it's not as accurate of a grade as what the bridge work has made. And now it's going to disappear under because we have shortened the length by cutting this corner. Up over ahead so we can see that it's placing. And we'll come all the way here to the end. And again, drop it down to 1.5 and play with it a little bit until we can make sure it's actually where it's supposed to be. And right click it in. Hi, now the next step is to come back and remove all the rail off the top because we don't need it anymore. We've got our area in where we want to go. A lot of people, when they build here, they'll actually put the bridge from over that side and meet up to this side and basically cut off this section of track, and that has removed all this length of track that they could get extra distance at. And if you remove this, it's about half a degree to 3/4 half a percent to about 3/4% that you lose out of the total height of the track that you can climb. Oh, hello, the U for Taffy. Yes, you can snap any groundworks to the center of track. If you'd watched the tutorials that I've done, I show how to do that through the early tutorials. And it is how you get your track to be center of the groundworks. Tutorial number 1 covers all the very basic stuff of how to get tracked so that it actually looks like real rail and not sleepers sitting on top of dirt. How to get things aligned and how to keep them straight. Yes, now it's just a lot of deleting. As you run along, I'm going to delete all the track, and then we'll have to do a run back up, and we need to delete all the stone works as well, because it will interfere where the track gets placed on top of the steel bridge. We have a sound path up here now with that steel bridge. Ah, yes, I've seen you in the Discord. Well, we may have cut that a little bit too tight there on that corner. So it's looking okay. But we can correct it when we put the finished track over the top. We can go about 6 inches either side of centre on the bridge work and with it, and not have it affect the grade that greatly. So there's still a little bit of wiggle room to put the finished track on top of the bridge work. One more piece of track, there we go. Oh, give me groundworks. Okay, yeah, so we want to get rid of that piece as well. We should be able to connect to the control points of that track. And let's run up the hill and get rid of all the stonework out of it. We can see where our final position where the track will go will be. It was all hidden. Yes, that stays nice and neatly against the side of the hill. Might be a little bit too close here. We might have to come a little wide. As it looks like most of the way up through here, we'll have to stay a little bit to the left. Tried to keep it just a little bit too snug against the side of the mountain. And also along here, it's a little bit too snug. We'll have to move it away just a little bit. It's usually fine if just the tips of the tyres are touching the wall, as long as they're not sinking into it. You won't have too much trouble with the overhang on the sides of the rail cars clipping the edge. We're building a 1.5% grade for a supply route up from the sawmill to the iron mine, without any big sky bridges. So it all snakes along the edge of the mountain. There's actually quite a delay there on the stream compared to where I'm at building. We want to try not to lead the safety net as we go across here. So this part here is going to have to be built out a little bit to the left. We've got a little bit too close, a little bit too close here as well. Well, where I've already got the track in, I'm already on target to get there at a 1.5. As long as you can get your track to go through this little cutting here, you're well and truly on target to get up there with a 1.5. And there we go, all cleaned off. Run all the way back to the back and we'll put the finished track up it. Yes, it's a long way back. So much time just walking. I will put a line in down on that eastern side as well on the marked route. You can see the marked route over there in the distance. And it's possible to get a 2.5% down that line, provided you avoid going down the level sections and the steep sections. So basically when the groundworks that you're placing down as your string line starts to go underground, you just sort of step off the side of the mountain and go around it. But you can get it in at a 2.5 and the groundworks doesn't actually get very deep all the way down. Whereas if you try and stay right on the path, you can get it at about a 3.25. And you've got some super deep groundworks all the way along it if you try and stay right on the path. Now it's just this one particular line is 1.5. Pretty much everywhere where I build on the map, the steepest grade that I'll need to put in will be a 2.5. Which is the run down of the smelter and then from the smelter back up to the iron mine. They're the two paths that need to be in it at a 2.5 unless you want to make them ridiculously long. But if you stick to the edges like this, they'll go in at a 2.5. To get to the coal mine, you only need a 1.75 down the marked route. And my personal save is up there on the Miniswerg as well. Instead of being Clown 3, which is this map, if you look at Clown 2, you will see all the paths that I took. There we go, back down at the bottom, we're ready to start putting the finished track on it. And I'm going to have a quick couple of puffs on this cigarette before we start building that, because it will take a little while to get up to the top. Right, let's start with some building. And we really do need to mark this section to know that this is the spot where we've got duplicate track. So we'll put a piece down there that lets us know that the duplicate track is right here. Okay, don't let me connect to the end. Now it will. 7 tie spacings. And this is the track that you need to put in and make sure it's nice and accurate, that it goes exactly where you want it to go. Yes, we can see that's building in there nice and smooth along there now. No wobbles where we don't want wobbles. We want to have a straight in before the change of direction. Otherwise things get spicy at the couplings. We made a mistake there. We went just a little bit too tight. So we'll take out the last segment we used, and we take out that segment. And we come back to here and start again. Put a marker to let us know there's a duplicate here. So we'll only go with 14. Yes, it was a good call. So you want to come out of this corner a little bit wide. So we want to avoid that rock face up there. So we'll back off just a little bit more. And a little bit more. And now straighten out of the corner. And again, we want to avoid the rock wall up ahead. The new track, from what we've been told and what's been seen, should be quite good, and it should be a lot easier to place track and much, much harder to actually make bad track. That's the hope anyway. So all these multiple steps that I do should be a thing of the past. Pull across here at 2%. This little bridge was a 2. And we should be seeing the update in maybe 3 to 4 weeks. But I'm sure there'll be lots more leaks from our resident leaker of updates of things that's going on in the dev build. As it gets closer to the time anyway. There's no new information as of today. That was a mistake. The mouse moved. Put a marker for where we have a duplicate. And because we've broken this spline so many times, to keep the save file size down and to keep the physics engine happy, we'll actually build over this again another time to turn all the multiple splines into a single spline. So when you're placing track, it is easy to get it wrong, and you have to delete a section and come back and start again. Okay, this one definitely has to be straight. Now we'll start curving into this corner. If I recall, this was a 15. And we're going to have to pull it up to an 18, I think. Oh, I'm Raymond Vaders. I'm sure there will be little nuances with the new track system that we'll have to work out. And yeah, the people that put in the time will be making better track than those that just slap it down. And that was one of the problems we had earlier, was we had a flat spot here and we just tried to put it back into the track again. So we'll come back to here and we'll try and get rid of this flat spot. Mark, there's a duplicate. To get rid of a tight spot like that, it is as simple as removing the pieces and then putting in slightly opening corners, and that wasn't quite right either. We don't want to open it out quite so quick. And remove the tangent and try again. Click in. Okay, now I'll turn around and have a look. Yeah, that's better. Got a smooth curve with no flat spot in it. Yes, I'm hoping to get an advanced copy of the dev build so that I can get a head start on everyone working out all the funny things that the new track system will do, so that when it actually does come for release, I'm ready with tutorials for everyone so that people don't have big headaches trying to get good track straight up. We don't know what's going to happen until we actually get closer, so we'll see what happens. Not too close. And a straight before we change direction. It'll have a little wiggle in it. Well, that's okay, that shouldn't cause any derails. Oh, click in. Well, the physics setting, all it changes in the game is how much the loads that you put on the rail cars weigh. And it doesn't change anything else. It doesn't change the weights of the rail cars themselves, doesn't change the weights of the locomotives. It only changes the weights of the loads. And well, I'm always on realistic. But if you want to be able to put bigger trains up steep grades and don't care so much about the actual gameplay, then I guess you'd run with one of the lower settings. What was this corner that we put in at? I think it was 25. This was our first 25 corner. So I'm going to put one segment of it in at 25 and smooth in and smooth out of it. All the grades and lines I build are fine to haul a, 12 to 20 rail car train up and down without any problems at all. So yeah, I don't worry so much about the weights of the loads. Well, the other setting, the difficulty setting, is about the... Did we get a little wobble there? No, we didn't. It's about how many loads you need to do to get the same amount of outputs. And well, I like driving the trains just as much as I like building the track. So I tend to put that on hard as well, so that I've got twice as many trips to do to get the same amount of outputs. Because at the moment in the game, money is... You just have too much. While you're early game like I am at the moment, what are we there? I've only got $800. But once you've played a little bit, you end up with so much money and nothing to spend it on. So doing the extra loads is no sort of extra load on playing the game. Sort of stay wide of that little piece there too. And straight between the changes of direction. That just did leave us with a straight in the middle, I hope. That should be enough of a straight there to get to change your direction. Yes, hello Mason Kistler. The 7 tie segment lengths are both aesthetic, and they give you a high enough resolution of control points to get the track to go where you want it to go. If you do full length, that's 10.5 meters or 34 foot between control points, and you can get little wobbles in the track where you don't want them to go, whereas when you're at 7, that's only about 15 foot between control points, and it's a lot easier to control exactly where you want the track to go. As you can see, I've got no little turn lefts before they turn right, and the track goes exactly where I want it to go. And the other reason for 7 tyres is, if you look down, there are no gaps in the tyre spacings, which is something we won't have to worry about after the next update, because after the next update, all the tyre spacings are all procedurally generated. So it doesn't matter what length of track you place with the new system, it will always be evenly spaced tyres. However, they're not all straight like this, there's crooked ones. And for all those people with OCD, it's going to drive them crazy, having like every 6th or 7th tie have a big wobble in it, or be, not perpendicular to the track. Got a bit close here. Should be okay. Turn around and check to make sure to get it straight between the changes of directions. I reckon this corner I put it in at 25, and it's going to go wide, I think. But we wanted to make it just a little bit wider to try and avoid the hill where it's sunk in a little bit too far. Yep, have a good day at work, Raymond. And it looks like that is the end of how far I can build a spline to. So we'll finish the spline, remove the last segment so that the last segment doesn't comply to the curve, and put a marker here so we know we've got duplicates. And back up to 25 again, and we'll continue to build. That's no good. We have gotten a wobble in the track there. So we'll come back to this point. Try again. Marker, so we've got a duplicate track. I'll actually start to back this one off a little bit sooner. He's out of the corner better than that, removes the kink. Let's put an odd little anomaly in the track that I didn't want to have. Anyway. It will allow us to build into this little cutting better. Perhaps. No, we're going to have to go back and we're going to have to try that bit again. That did not work. We actually have to come all the way back here to fix it. Because we need where this curve smooths out to finish further to the left. And we've induced that wobble again. We tried to go too far, too fast. I haven't really followed many of the other players. Very early game, I was watching Uthris. And well, I stopped watching him because he stopped playing the game, and he was kind of doing funny things with how he was making these tracks as well. Placing them freehand, and then he'd get a lot of problems with his track. you know, not being what he thought he was building. And well, of course, I watched what Heist does, because I went and told Heist that his track was terrible, and he said, well, if it's so bad, you better come and fix it for me. And so I went and fixed a whole heap of Heist's track on his streams. So yes, I watched what Heist does, and have a good joke with him about his ES&D rail lines. I think we need to go one more straight and then turn. I think, yeah, that's got a bit of flow through going through there. Right, see you later, Captain Robert. We're still pointing the wrong direction. Let's go back to this one. This one is pointing the right direction. There's only one thing to say about all the random anomalies that appear on Heist's track, and the answer to that is Australians. And it wasn't me. I just stood there and watched and laughed as it was done. But there's lots of little Easter eggs hidden all over Heist's map that half of them he doesn't even know that they're there. There's Farmer Tharma and Mickley run around and do fun things on his track, and sometimes Tristan as well. It's all fun and it's all in jest. We have a good laugh at it. Yes, the music in the game is absolutely brilliant. Fits the theme of the game perfectly. And yes, much credit to Heist for putting together all the music. Well, they're working on a second part to the soundtrack as well, and some day-night songs. Well, that's a little bit of a giveaway to say, hey, there's day and night time coming to the game soon. That wobble might be a little bit too much, I think. We'll put in the next piece and see how it goes. This is like the hardest part of the map to build on in all the places where I've built. Oh, that looks okay to me. The first time I built the iron mine track, I put the track directly on the ground and went up the intended route. And I had no ill consequences from that, for the simple reason that we're talking back last October, November, and it was before the physics update. And I had super trains. I could run the Eureka up that line with 10% grades, only need 40% regulator, and had 20 loaded rail cars on behind it. Which a lot of people didn't believe me that that's what was going on, so I live streamed it for them. And it made a lot of people upset that it was doing that. And it was only about 4 or so weeks later that the Koimi had come up with a plan of how to fix the physics so that everybody got the same physics experience. Because yes, while I had super trains and basically they'd run over anything, other people were having problems where they could have just the locomotive and they couldn't get up a 5% grade. We have messed up on this corner. I'll have to go back to the start of the corner and try again. Back to the straight track. I might do a save while we're here as well. Just in case. Not that I've had the game crash. I've had it crash once in the whole time that I've had it since last October. And that crash was because the video card driver overheated, the video card overheated, not because of the game's fault. Try and get all the way around with the 23 this time. Start backing it out of the corner, perhaps. Did I make a double apex corner? I think I have made a double apex corner. Oh, pardon me. Did I get that 5 in? Yes, I'm going to put it in. I might just go back to a 2. Let's start stepping back into the corner again. Yes, that looks nice. Okay, I've made a mistake here on this corner. We need to go around it a little bit tighter. Otherwise we can't line up to turn back the other direction. So we'll go back to the straight here. I'm not sure about what's happening with the user interface, to be honest. Well, I don't use the actual driving user interface at all, but the build menu, as far as I know, has gotten a slight little revamp. And I haven't seen any sneak peeks or anything of it yet. But of course there'll be more items on it, because we'll have combined rail and groundworks, and then there's singular groundworks, and then there's singular track as well, which I didn't think was actually going to be included, but we are still going to be able to place track without groundworks. That's better. Now we're lined up. I can get us straight between the changes of direction. Alright, now to get around this very difficult corner. If I remember it was right, it was 29 from here. So this is going to have to be this will be a corner that you'll have to slow down for when you're coming back downhill. We'll start backing out of the corner. And that will more than likely need a little bit of revise on these last couple of pieces here, so that it can line in to go around the edge. But I'm only going to build to about here at the moment. And well, we won't remove all of this bridge at the end, because we want to have a little bit of bridge here at the end so that we've got a height that the track was laid on at this grade at this point, so that we can continue on building. So we'll have to come back and start deleting about here, I reckon. We'll leave 2 segments. And now we run all the way back to the start and delete all the bridge. We probably should delete all that the safety net groundwork that's down there as well. And keep an eye out along as we're running along to see if we missed any duplicate tracks, which I'm pretty sure I've got them all marked, because all the duplicate tracks need to get... I've fallen down a hole. Okay, this is how you get yourself out of a hole. Grab a piece of groundwork, pull it along underneath you, and snap it in. A little bit higher up. Okay, so why am I stuck? Usually you can pop yourself up out of the groundwork. It's like it's just not even registering that I'm in the groundwork because it won't let me jump either. Well, that got me out of it. I was actually stuck in the track itself. And remove the 2 tangent pieces to put the track back. We do need to build back over this track again and turn it into a single splines for as far as it can go instead of having multiple splines along the way. Yeah, usually when you get stuck in something, you can put a bit of groundworks underneath you and it'll pop you back to the surface again, but it wasn't working that time. Okay, here's one of them spots that's got a duplicate track. The tangent, remove the marker. Here's another one. And another one. All the places where we made mistakes and had to go back and fix them again. If you run on the actual rails itself, there's less chance of you falling down in between the tyres. I actually thought we made more errors than that and had to go back and start more often. There's one here. just on a straight, so it doesn't really matter which one we delete. But we'll go for the inside one. How did I get the name clown? Well, at school, I was always the class clown. Even though I was a serious sort of guy, I was a bit of a clown at times, and mostly because that was the material that they were covering in the classes. I'd already studied ahead on, and the class was as boring as, and so I used to clown around quite a bit. And well, it's actually a little bit of a play on words because it's uppercase and lowercase, meaning that it's clown but sarcastically. So yes, it's a clown that's not really a clown. Well, when I first searched the name up in about 1997, I think it was, I got Google whacked because like Google didn't give you suggestions back then. If it found nothing, it would come up and say we found nothing. So I'd searched the name up and I'd gotten Google whacked. And off the end of here, so that we've got a height here, we'll put another tiny little piece of constant. So we can delete this section of groundwork. Okay, we can start putting in some finished groundworks now. And we've finished with this cross track here as well. So yes, that's how I've gotten my nickname of Clown, and I've had it for, well, I was always called Clown at school. But yes, the internet spelling and the sarcasm since 1997, and I haven't used a different name anywhere. I just use the same name everywhere I go on the internet. But I see that it's quite a widely used name now as well. So when you search, you don't always find just me anymore. Okay, now we need to start climbing. We'll keep an eye on how deep we're going here. Because I think at about here, what we're going to do is we're going to tip it down to be 10 degrees down. And stick it down into the ground. And we have got a duplicate track problem here as well. We missed one, the one we started with. So one of these ones, and it's on a straight, so it doesn't matter which one. I know we probably should have started diving sooner. We've missed our opportunity here. So we'll remove this first bit we put in and we'll try again. I should have started diving into the ground sooner. Groundwork variable because we're going up a transition. Switch is level. First piece is level. And now we start to climb. far up we are this time. And from this point, I think we'll start dropping it down to 10 into the ground so that it actually makes it into the ground. It's disappearing away nicely. That puts a nice little, when we feather the stone wall over it, it will actually look like it disappears into the stone wall there, you can see there. Instead of it just being a blunt dead stop. Now we just build along here with stone wall as far as we can go. No, that's no problem at all, DBL. I made them to be able to help everyone in the community so that they could understand how the splines worked and be able to build better tracks for themselves. Snap along, hit every connection, and we want to put it in as far as we can go, and that makes a single spline of groundworks for the full length, because the less number of splines you have, the better performance you'll get out of the game. So we want to make the splines as long as possible, because when you come back in the middle and delete the ones that shouldn't be stone wall, or they should be bridge work or something like that, it's still one spline. You've only hidden the spots where you've told it to delete, and it doesn't actually delete this whole spline until you've hidden every single segment. Like here, this will be a bridge. And the determining factor will just run back along the top side of the hill, and anything that's too deep from the top side of the hill in here, in this little gap that's in here, you just delete it out and replace it with a bridge. Like most of this here along here, this will all stay as stone wall. Some spots you might put a little bit of backfill in instead of putting a bridge there so that it's all level. Like this is a spot where you might put a little bit of backfill into. Because as you can see, there's a little bit of a gap there, but it's not enough to warrant putting a bridge in. So you just backfill it with the regular old gravel. This gap here, this little gap here is one that you'd put a bridge in. It's going to be too high. It'll look better with a bridge in this one. Then of course there'll be a bit of stone wall here because it meets up with the edge You see that one's deep, you'd put some ground bridge work in there. It's sort of capped off, and then this will be like there'll be a little bit of stone wall, and then this will be back to bridge again. And again, this little bit here, this will be stone wall in the finish, and that bit in the center section there will be bridge. And we'll just have to have a look and see what goes on around here. Ooh. Are we at our length or are we not? We are at full length, so that's as long as it'll let us place the spline. So now we just got to go back and determine which spots don't need to be. And we'll check the middle on that bit and that bit. And of course we fall down. We need to be on the top side. You can't see what you're doing unless you're on the top side. So let's put in a cheeky piece of groundwork here. Facing that way, that will allow us to climb back up again. And that piece, and I reckon that piece. And we'll leave that piece as an abutment. And this one we want to go that bit, that bit, that bit, and that bit as well. So that leaves us 2 segments there of stone wall. And that one and that one. And this all along here can all stay stone wall. And this bit here we'll put backfill in here. Basically you stand on the track here and perpendicular right on the edge and build it straight out off to the end. Move down a width and put another piece here. Move down a width, put another piece here until you've filled in the whole area around here with backfill. And this is another spot where you'd put a little bit of backfill. Now this bit here, this definitely needs to be a bridge. Maybe one more. And this bit here across here needs to be a bridge as well. And from there. Okay, basically we go through and repeat the process now with the bridges. And we start it in the middle, turn the alt lock off because we're snapping to the track. Put it on 1.5 and snap it along to all the track joints. And overlap at 1, and that's done. One perfect bridge. Here I'll put the next one in. Oh, we don't want that bridge, we want wood bridge. These aren't tall enough areas to need a steel bridge. to 1.5, turn off the alt lock, and snap it to every joint again. Overlap at one on either end. And by rights, we should be able to fly down here, full regulator with the current speed cap, up and down. And find the joint. And it's actually, you got to look close at these joints because you can see this one here is slightly wider than this one, and it's the joint that's closer together is the one you want to pick. I'll lock off so it follows the track. Because we need to overlap. We'll make this in one big long spline, this piece. And one segment overlapped. And we can get rid of our temporary bit we had used to climb up. And now the last step of this, and we want to lay it the same direction, so all our tracks laid the same direction. So if we ever do have to re-rail, it'll always put the rail cars on the right way for us. And now we'll put the decking rail over the top of it. We don't want to overlap one section there because we actually want this piece to have decking rail on it. So we come back even one further because this first piece we put in will not comply to the spline. You can see there it's made a tangent. Turn off the alt lock and run along and snap it to the joints. We need to build right across this section of stone wall we're leaving in. All the way to the end. Now this is we want to keep this piece, we need to go one past the end. And you can see it's made a tangent again, because the first and the last do not comply to the spline. Now, before we right click to finalise that spline, you come back in here to the rails, and then you start to delete, basically just hold it down and swipe it round, and it will remove all of the standard rail out from in amongst the spline that you're still holding that hasn't been finalised yet. And we can run along and delete them all up to the point where we want to keep that one. And now right click and finish it. Tip and tail it with the first and the last. One completed bridge. And they don't go in any easier and nicer than that. Oh, I fell off again. I'm pretty sure the next bridge back here was the one that goes across the little gully. And maybe we can climb up here and get on. Yes, we can. Same process as before, one past where we want it. Alt lock off, and snap it to the joints across the top. And one past the end. And choose the delete tool. Start clicking from off of where you're building, and you keep the mouse button held down so it doesn't place a piece of track. And that's all of them. Right click and in the spline. Tip and tail it again. Building a bridge by not building a bridge. She's a bit close for my liking. And on the last bridge on this section, do it again. I'll block off. Snap it to every joint. One past where we want it. And click and hold out here, drag it across the ghost spline, move the rail out of the middle. Right click to finish the spline and tip and tail it. Well, I like that, that looks pretty good. Probably a good idea if I do a save here. Don't want to lose that section we just put in. Probably should check and see how long this stream's been going for. Because yes, I'm going to have to end the stream soon. It's 2.25 hours. But it's the exact same process that I've built all the way along, and you just continue it all the way the rest of the way up the mountain. And from that point of where I've actually built to, up to the iron mine, that's all easy. From then on up, there's no more real cliff faces. It's just all hillside. Becomes real easy to build on from there. This is the hard bit here at the bottom that I've done today. Everything that will be coming, and it won't be until after the update for exciting news on new assets. It's already in the official Discord. If you go into the modeling channels, and the modelers have already put up all their examples in there. There's no bonus extra bits there that I can Okay, we have actually got a little bit of a grade problem here around this corner. I think we have got a slight increase of grade because we cut the corner tighter than we put the tighter than where we put the bridge work in at 1.75, and then we're back to 1.5. So yes, there's a little peak on the as you enter this corner. Not what we wanted, but it's what we got. And again, there's a tiny little peak there as well. We won't know exactly what we've got until we get the map up onto Minisburg and have a look on there. Things that I'm excited about. The moguls. Everybody knows I like the moguls. And yes, there's a mogul coming very soon. It's the one with the fancy piston setup. And then the tank engine porter will be a great addition as well. It'll give a nice powerful locomotive to have in for shunt yards. That's the other one that I'm really looking forward to of what's coming soon. Okay, I think I missed a link there. You get a pretty good idea on when you go to put these finished groundworks in, or whether or not your grade is where you thought you were putting it in at. Because as you can see, I'm set on 1.5 and I'm lining it up to the second, just here on the edge of the tie, you can see the second grain down. That's where I'm lining it up to. And nearly every single tie that I've connected up to has been 1.5, and well, that one there I had to gain a little bit. That's what happens when you get a little bit too far off that centre line of the bridge with your finished track. Should run out of spline length here soon. And all the stone walls reaching the ground where we've built, so we're not that high actually, even up on the cliff face. Because if you're too high up, it won't actually let you place the groundworks. You've got to put a little piece in underneath to be able to get it to snap to the track. Yes, there's some slight little variations of grade along this bit here where we've had to try and avoid getting too close to the edge of the mountain. Looks like that is the end of where we can place the spline to. But that all looks really good there so far. I'm real happy with how this has turned out. I have got no idea about what's happening with the track layout user interface. I'm hoping one day that we'll actually get a hotbar. Like most build games, we'll be able to just select with the number keys what item we want. And instead of having to open a menu up every single time. So while we're coming back, we better delete our sections because that all needs to be bridge. And oh, look at that, we got a little bit of hang there, so we'll have to build back up from the bottom side and extend the length of that stone wall down the cliff face a little bit further. And we'll come all the way back to here and around the curve here. From that one, I reckon. And one more. And another little bridge to put in here. From that point over to here is another one. We might leave this here a stone wall just there. We might go from that point there, and all this here along here will be bridge. All the way up to that point. Let's have a look and see what happened here at the bottom as well, whether or not we actually reached the ground, and we did. We've reached the ground all the way around this curve here. So that looks fine. I hope we got enough clearance around there. Should be. Hey, put in some bridge works. And 1.5. Alt lock off. Snap it to the track. It's actually the most easiest way to build bridges like this. They go in, they look absolutely spot on first go, no messing around. No worrying about whether or not your bridge is doing funny grade things or skewing off to one side. We'll work our way up. We'll put the decking on the top of this one straight away. Where's our link? Not that one. We want that link. I'll lock off. And sometimes when you're building like this, it won't actually give you the link, and all you got to do is just give it a little bit of a shake, and the link will appear. Yes, there's a little bit of a grade difference there. That's why the little bit of bridge isn't showing through on the top. And we go just outside, because when you go to put your delete on, you want to be outside of that length of next piece of track that can build. So when you click, it doesn't actually place a piece. I'm holding in the left click at the moment and it's not placing a piece in. And that's it. Right click the spline in. And move the tip and the tail. This bridge here will give you a nice look out over the valley as you're going over it. And 1.5. Alt lock off. Little short bridge here. The first and the last deleted again. Next little segment of bridge. I want to be another little short one. Oh, I done that one wrong. End it, delete it. I forgot to turn off the alt lock, and I thought it was skewing off from the track just a smidgen. Try that again. There we go. Now the alt lock turned off. Got the bridge built. Here's that thing where it's not going to show me the links. Shake it around and they'll appear. And delete the rail out of the middle. It's actually having two tools selected at once to do this. You got the place and the delete tool both selected at once. And finish off the spline. One more bridge section to go. I thought maybe this one might get a little bit too deep and I'd have to put steel bridge here, but it doesn't look like it will. Trestle will fit across. And there we go, that's about halfway built up to the iron mine. And how long did that take us? About 2 hours 30 to build halfway there. So I will finish the rest of this off stream. And thanks for watching, everyone, and asking questions along the way and seeing how everything went. And I will catch you all. The next episode will just be a recorded episode. I'll finish off this iron mine line to the top off camera, and the next episode I will be building in at the iron mine at the top. Alright, see you all later.